Hi everybody, it's the Soap Man and it's time to make some soap again. So last week I did what I called a tacky soap. Tacky as in gaudy, not tasteful. And y'all seem to really like it, and it actually looks pretty nice. I wasn't worried about things not working because it was supposed to be a tacky soap. It has confetti in it and a bright neon green and a nice bright top and some soap chunks on top of it, so not bad. So what I'm going to do today, I still had some soaps that I know I'm never going to use, so I chopped them up into confetti. This is approximately the same amount I had last week. So instead of the neon green base, I am going to do a light blue base. It's Crafter's Choice Bikini Blue Powder. And the top is going to be Brambleberry's Ultramarine Violet. And I'm going to set this with, things are falling out on me. Going to set this with Brambleberry's Pomegranate and Blackcurrant. I've used this before, it's been a long time, but I used it with great success. It has a nice bright fruity scent. It's clear, does not discolor, it just looks like water. Brambleberry says it tends to accelerate trace a little. I didn't find that the last time, but in this instance, some light acceleration could actually be to my benefit because I want the base to be able to support the embeds, all that confetti, so it doesn't fall to the bottom. So let's get some lye water mixed up, get a light emulsification. I'm going to pour off approximately 20 ounces for the top and take it from there. And we'll make a little bit of noise here. Okay, that is good to start. So I'm going to pour off approximately 20 ounces for the top. And this does not have to be exact, just kind of that seemed to work before. So let's try to get that poured off. Alright, 20.5, close enough. We'll set that aside. So what I'm going to do, I normally disperse my colors. I'm not, because I'm going to have to stick blend this to get a little thicker. It's very rare that I don't disperse my colors, but in this instance I really don't think it's necessary. Put in about 2 teaspoons. Looks all nice and pretty and blue. We'll get our stick blender in and get that under the head of the stick blender and get some air out of it and blend it in. Let's get our fragrance oil in because that is too thin. So if it accelerates a little, that is fine with me. I'm going to save just enough for the top. in beautifully. Generally, stick blending with the fragrance oil is not my thing, but I think I'm going to have to. And I'm having no acceleration, which I've not had in the past. This to me is an ideal fragrance oil. Behaves very well, doesn't discolor, and really lasts in cold process. So let's stir our embeds in. Sorry, I don't really think you can see that. I'm going to try and get my camera the next time where it's set up overhead so you're watching from overhead and can see better. This camera is so tricky. If I get it too close, it freaks it out and it shuts itself off. But you'll see it in just a minute when I pour it into the slab mold. Last week I had my slab mold lined. This week I'm using just the silicone liner that was with it. So it's going to be a little bit different shaped soap, but that is alright. Now that to me is a nice ideal consistency. And a fragrance oil that behaves very well. So let's pour this in here and get it smoothed down, nice and flat. Tap it on the floor. Now really, this is a little too thin, I think, for my top. Well, as long as my top does not accelerate, I think I'll be alright. So, I did disperse my ultramarine because ultramarines tend to clump a little bit and need a little extra, and I did not want this to thicken up too much on me from stick blending. I am seeing some specks in it. I'll have to stick blend it a little bit before I put the fragrance oil in. But it looks nice. I'm happy with it. So let's blend this up just a little bit and we'll get it on top. Stick blender is dying. This one is so old. It has been such a good stick blender. Let's get the rest of our fragrance oil in this pretty purple. Stir it in. This fragrance oil is behaving beautifully. Let's see if we can get that stick blended with my stick blender. That poor thing is dying. Oh, poor thing. Listen to it. Okay, now let's get you back over here. That's starting to set up. I can be careful and pull with a spatula to break the fall. And once again, this is one of those tacky soaps, so if it pierces through, who cares? pat this down one more time. Take my spatula and just kind of pat the top to smooth it out a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if you can see the specks in this. That's typical with ultramarine. There you can see some. Really needed to be blended up better, but that just is typical with ultramarines. Okay, now we're going to put our tacky green soap pieces on the top. No random order. So, just like last week, this is going to take a while and it's going to be boring. So, I'll shut us down and bring us back in just a minute. See you in just a little while, everybody. Okay, I'm back. So there we have it. We have our second batch of tacky soap. We have a nice purple top or a violet top with lime green embeds. I am going to spray it with rubbing alcohol very generously because I don't want that pretty top to ash over. And then I will show it to you and do very generously. I'm going to let this sit for about 5 minutes and come back and spray it again the second time with another batch with some more alcohol, and then I'm going to put it in a nice warm spot and let it go through a nice hot gel phase, and I will see you tomorrow for the cutting. Alright everybody, thanks for watching and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Hi everybody, it's the Soap Man and it's time to cut the soap I made. So I've already gone ahead and cut this into 2 logs. I didn't record it and I wish I would have. I'll go ahead and cut this log. I have a new toy in my soap arsenal, if you want to call it an arsenal. My soap making supplies. This wonderful log splitter my friend Lisa sent me. This is from Bud's Wood Shop. Bud is also the one who made my soap cutter there. So Bud is on Etsy if you want to go there and make some, to check out some of his supplies. Really high quality stuff, so thank you Lisa. That's going to really help in this. So let's go ahead and cut this soap. I'm just going to cut one because it's going to be pretty much the same all the way through. So this is just going to be a short cutting video. And I'll compare this one to the one I made last week. 12 hours and this soap is ready to cut. I love this recipe. I am really loving this recipe. This is going to be pretty much a standard recipe for the most part. Not always, but for the most part. It behaves well. It unmolds easily. 12 hours, and this is a hard bar of soap. It sets up a super hard bar eventually, and it's great in the shower too. So this is going to be pretty much a standard recipe for the vast majority of my soaps from here on. When I need the super thin, like say the Spin Swirl and the Call and Pour, I'll use something else. And sometimes I like using other butters, like shea butter, which I'm going to have to use. I have some cocoa butter I'm going to have to use. I'll change, but this is going to be the majority. And I'll put the recipe in percentages below. Technically it is my recipe, but it's based on one of Brambleberry's quick mixes. They have some of their soaps already just made up and ready to go. All you have to do is melt the bag and weigh it out. It's based on their, what do they call it? It's one of their quick mixes. I think it's called Lots of Lather. And they advertise that it produces a hard bar, which it does, and lots of lather. I'm just really loving this. The only thing I did different is I don't use nut oils in my soap because since I give these, I don't sell them, I don't list the ingredients, and I do fear that somebody may have a nut allergy or be unaware that they have a nut allergy, so I don't use nut oils in that. So I replaced the almond oil. I use half rice bran and half apricot kernel. finish cutting this log and then get last week's and compare the two. I think I like last week's better. And 10. So here is last week's. Here's this week's. So this is my tacky soap. Now last week's doesn't have quite as nice clean lines as this one. This one was a lot more fluid, poured a whole lot better. If you watch this one, it got thick because the scent oil riced and I had to stick blend it, and the top, the yellow top, turned to Play-Doh. I mean, I was smearing Play-Doh practically over the top. But I'll go ahead and cut this other one off camera because it's going to look exactly the same. But here we have it. That's my second tacky soap. So actually, for a soap that's not supposed to be pretty or elegant or what have you, I kind of like these. So folks, I'll see you next week for another batch of soap. And to all the mothers out there, thank you all for all you do for all of us and putting up with all of us, and happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers. All right, see you next week. Bye.